US Intel Chief first India visit. Defense Minister meets Tulsi Gabbard. India for US crackdown on terror.
President Trump, through his first administration in the presidency, and it continues now, has been very clear about his commitment to defeating this threat of Islamist terrorism.
Modi government urges Gabbard to take action. That is our top focus at 5 Live.
So there are two key result areas or key focus areas. One is tackling radical Islamist terror in India's neighborhood. There's also emphasis on tackling the Khalistani terrorists and terror sympathizers, whether it's in the United States of America or Canada or Europe, or Australia or New Zealand. Remember, New Zealand's Prime Minister is also in India, and that's another key area of cooperation between India and the world. We'll talk about it in greater detail. I'm Gaurav Sawant. US Director for National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is in India. She's met Union Defense Minister Rajnath Singh in the national capital, and this marks the first high-level trip to India by a top official of the Donald Trump administration as he took over as president for his second tenure. Now, according to sources, during this meeting, India raised the issue of anti-India activities conducted by Khalistani organizations and Khalistan terror supporters and sympathizers, including a radical organization called Sikhs for Justice in America. India expressed concerns and asked the United States to take action and take strong action against unlawful activities of this organization. Tulsi Gabbard is visiting India as part of a multi-nation tour. The Asia leg of her trip will conclude with an address on the 18th of March at the Raisina Dialogue. It's that multinational gathering of security officials in Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited Tulsi Gabbard for this. Now, the conversation is about many issues where India and the United States of America, two of the world's most powerful democracies, the oldest and the largest democracies of the world, are cooperating very closely. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard has also mentioned the close relationship between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Donald Trump, and their personal bond taking this relationship forward, as is cooperation in various fields, from defense to artificial intelligence to trade to technology, and diversifying this cooperation to newer areas. Listen in to Tulsi Gabbard. Listen in. I'll get you much more on this big story.
This was an issue that came up, and you would have seen references to that in Prime Minister's media statement as well. We do alert our friends to the activities of anti-India elements in their countries and their abuse of freedom of speech and other democratic freedoms to glorify terrorism and to threaten attacks against our diplomats or our parliament or our events in India. So these were also conveyed.
President Trump, through his first administration in the presidency, and it continues now, has been very clear about his commitment to defeating this threat of Islamist terrorism that has unfortunately plagued us, has and continues to pose a direct threat to the American people. But we see how it's been impacting people here in India, in Bangladesh, currently ongoing in Syria, Israel, and different countries in the Middle East. So this is a threat that I know Prime Minister Modi also takes seriously, and one where the leaders of our two countries will work together to try to identify and defeat that threat. My own personal spiritual practice, my personal relationship with God is the center of my life, and I do my very best every day to live a life that is pleasing to God, and what better way to do that and to do my best to be of service to all of God's children. And so in different times of my life, whether serving in war zones in different parts of the world or the challenges that we face now, it is Krishna's teachings to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that I turn to in the best of times and the worst of times, and continuously learn critical lessons from Krishna to Arjuna that give me strength, that give me peace, that give me great comfort through all of the days.
And let me bring in my colleagues Geeta Mohan, India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, and Shivani Sharma joining me with the latest on this big story. Geeta, a very critical visit of Tulsi Gabbard to India, her interaction and her conversation especially about the threat posed by radical Islamist terror to the region and to the world. In India's context, both Bangladesh and Pakistan become extremely crucial. What has the conversation been like? Okay, give me a moment, Geeta. We try and reestablish that audio link with you. I want to bring in Shivani Sharma into this conversation. Shivani, there's an issue that India has raised, and that's about Khalistan, the support that Khalistani terrorists and their activities get, both in the United States of America and in countries like Canada or across Europe. That's something that India has raised. The torching of the Indian consulate in San Francisco, the activities of sympathizers like Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, that's a cause for concern for India.
Certainly, Gaurav, India has been demanding action on all these incidents that are anti-India in nature, that has been causing threat to the Indian nationals on foreign soil, be it United States or Canada or Australia or any part of the world. But here it is important that in today's meeting with the Defence Minister and yesterday's meeting with the NSA, India has once again reiterated that it wants to act against terrorism on its own soil. As far as the Sikhs for Justice is concerned, it has been demanded from India's side that this particular organization must be listed as a terror organization in United States too, because it has been involved in anti-terror, anti-India activities and terror activities in United States. We've seen how the consulates have been burnt, how the anti-India slogans have been raised, how the diplomats from India and the other dignitaries have been attacked by these terrorists on the foreign soil. And Tulsi Gabbard has also indicated in her interviews that President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they both are fighting together to fight this particular threat against these terrorists across the world, not only in United States but in India and on the India-Pakistan border, and also in Bangladesh. So India and United States, they are going to fight even stronger against these terror elements across the world.
Stay with me, Geeta. The threat posed by radical Islamist terror, and that's a huge threat. Tulsi Gabbard mentioned Syria. She's mentioned the situation in Bangladesh. She's talked about what's happening, how it's a cause for concern in India and in the United States of America. But any forward movement, any tangible steps discussed?
Well, the fact that this is the first time Tulsi Gabbard was attending what is an annual feature here in India, Gaurav, National Security Advisor, hosting the intelligence chiefs meeting over here, a conference where top intelligence officers from various countries come. We had the Brits also over here, Canadians also over here. So top officers were here, but Tulsi Gabbard, given the fact that she's just taken office, was the main one of the most important dignitaries of the meeting. Yes, they discussed a lot. Islamist terrorism was one aspect of it, but the major part also was intelligence sharing, intelligence gathering, real-time intelligence sharing amongst these very important partner countries. And that certainly is what can really help one, control, contain terror activities and ensure that not just terror activities, including, money laundering, financial terrorism, all these activities need to be contained, and all these were aspects that were spoken of. Tulsi Gabbard's focus certainly on Islamist fundamentalism and how growing Islamist fundamentalism has led to a lot of problems, not just in this neighborhood, but across the region. She has indeed, Gaurav, put put Bangladesh on notice, Yunus regime on notice, saying that what is happening is in Bangladesh, Hindus being attacked, minorities being persecuted is something that is unacceptable. And yes, for two countries in the region, it's going to be really problematic to have an administration that is so closely watching what's happening in their countries when it comes to a rise in Islamist fundamentalism and minority persecution, be it Bangladesh or Pakistan. So a lot of trouble for these countries and the regimes if they do not set their records straight. But particularly for India, it's a breather given the fact that Bangladesh and a change in government. We're not saying Yunus regime because it's a caretaker government, but a change in government, if BNP should come to power, would mean a lot of trouble and security concerns for India.
And the situation on ground, both India and the United States, and that is where intelligence cooperation, Shivani, becomes very, very important, because radical Islamists and Pakistan's ISI, they tried to orchestrate a change of guard, especially when it comes to the army in Bangladesh, and it was quick intelligence sharing by India or by friends in the region that really helped General Waqar-ul-Zaman, the army chief in Bangladesh, and the radical Islamists or the Jamaat-supported, ISI-supported Jamaat leadership could not take over, Shivani.
Certainly, Gaurav, last week we were reporting about this big threat to the military chief of Bangladesh, and the intelligence from India, as the sources say, they have helped Bangladesh thwart this attempt of a possible coup within the army. And that's what the intelligence sharing is all about. The partners, be it United States or India or other countries that are in India, the Five Eyes we call them. So they are all collaborating for an intelligence sharing, for the technology, for the AI, to collaborate and fight the threats, be it the terrorism or the financial frauds or the other threats or the violence across these nations. So certainly this visit will be empowering India to fight terrorism in a very strong manner with the support of United States, as it has committed that it is also against terrorism.
Geeta, before I let you go, Tulsi Gabbard is a practicing Hindu. She spoke of her faith in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in the teachings of Yogeshwar Sri Krishna to Arjun, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, in the best of times and the worst of times. Given that she presented, she's believed to have presented the same Bhagavad Gita on which she took oath in the United States of America to Prime Minister Narendra Modi way back in 2014. So it's not just a close relationship between the two countries, the personal rapport with the Indian leadership. Does that also impact, the relationship, taking it forward in diplomatic circles?
Well, I do suppose so. There is a lot of trouble that India went through in the recent past under Biden administration with her very same department, the Department of National Intelligence, and also Kash Patel's department, that's the FBI. We'll have to wait and see how that really pans out for India and the Indian administration when it comes to certain investigations that are ongoing. And Tulsi Gabbard is somebody who's very openly also spoken about extremism against India, including Khalistani extremism. So I do not think that with her being the DNI director or Director National Intelligence, that the same would follow. That there is going to be a huge change and a shift in how America perceives this entire investigation and looks into India's concerns. Having said that, Gaurav, you very rightly said that there is a lot of rapport, personal, as also a lot of importance that Tulsi Gabbard personally attaches to India. The first leader that she met after taking oath in office this time around as well was Prime Minister Modi. He was at the Blair House. She took oath, and then the first thing she did was drove to Blair House to call on Prime Minister Modi. So her first meeting was with Prime Minister Modi, and then you're seeing the first leg of her visit, the three-country visit, is one of which is also India, where she again called on Prime Minister Modi and is also has also held important conversations on intelligence matters. So I suppose things are going to look more positive for this administration vis-a-vis Trump administration.
We will see what difference does it bring to the lives of people on ground and the counter-terror posture in the region and across the world. Geeta Mohan and Shivani Sharma for the moment. Many thanks for joining me. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Christopher Luxon, they addressed a joint press conference earlier this afternoon. The two witnessed an exchange of agreements between the two countries. This happened at Hyderabad House in the national capital. The Prime Minister of India and the Prime Minister of New Zealand signed a major agreement to formalize defense and security ties between the two countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also raised concerns over unlawful elements engaging in anti-India activities in New Zealand. The two are also expected to visit a Gurdwara together in the national capital. We get you more.
आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हम दोनों एक मत है। न्यूजीलैंड में कुछ गैर कानूनी तत्वों द्वारा भारत विरोधी गतिविधियों को लेकर हमने अपनी चिंता साझा की। हमें विश्वास है कि इन सभी गैर कानूनी तत्वों के खिलाफ हमें न्यूजीलैंड सरकार का सहयोग आगे भी मिलता रहेगा।
The Prime Minister and I, as he alluded to, also discussed a number of practical areas where New Zealand and India are deepening our defence and our security cooperation. For example, in maritime security, the Royal New Zealand Navy currently leads the Combined Task Force 150, coordinating multinational efforts to protect trade routes and counter smuggling, piracy and terrorism in the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden. We are working closely with India on this mission, and later this week the Aurangzeb frigate Takaha will arrive in Mumbai.
Hate preacher Zakir Naik is not just in Pakistan, he's also met Nawaz Sharif, former Prime Minister of Pakistan. Zakir Naik and Nawaz Sharif met in Lahore. The former Prime Minister of Pakistan hosted this hate preacher at his residence. Watch these images. This is a man who's wanted in India, but then there are several India's most wanted, including Hafiz Muhammad Saeed and that Maulana of terror Masood Azhar, who live and flourish in Pakistan, of course, with unknown gunmen neutralizing anti-India terrorists in Pakistan. Like Abu Katal was neutralized near the Mangala Pass area just yesterday. We are told terrorists are very unsafe. Terrorists are feeling very, very unsafe in Pakistan. But then there are terrorists like Hafiz Saeed who've been shifted to a safe house. And in the midst of all of this, Zakir Naik, you see those images there, he's meeting Mia Nawaz Sharif in Lahore. But I now want to focus on that other big story, the mystery killings that haunt terrorists in Pakistan. Just a day after Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorist Abu Katal was gunned down, a Jamaat leader has also been killed in Pakistan. Now, the ISI is reviewing security that Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed and several other terrorists enjoy in Pakistan. The information that we are now getting, so there are two different tracks that we are pursuing. One is the killing of terrorists, and the other information that's coming in, Mufti Abdul Baqi Nurzai, he's a senior leader of the Jamaat-e-Ulama-e-Islam. He was killed by unidentified gunmen, and this happened in Quetta, and Balochistan is in the headlines over past several days. First a train was hijacked, then a military convoy was targeted, both in Balochistan, and all of this while this was happening in Balochistan, in the Mangla Dam area, or the Mangla Pass area near Jhelum, we are told that Abu Katal, a close aide of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks mastermind Hafiz Muhammad Saeed, was killed by unknown gunmen in Jhelum. Intelligence sources are telling India today that Pakistan's ISI has been tasked to do a security review of all top terrorists who are involved in anti-India activities in Jammu and Kashmir and other parts of India, and their security is being strengthened. Many terrorists wanted in India are now being shifted to safe houses across Pakistan. So I want to bring into this conversation Ijaz Ahmed, a senior Pakistani journalist who joins us on this broadcast. Ijaz, what should one make of somebody like a Zakir Naik, who's seen as this Islamist preacher and a radical Islamist preacher? He's meeting Mian Nawaz Sharif. On the one hand, that's happening in Pakistan. On the other hand, Namaloom Afraad, as Pakistanis put it, are killing India's most wanted terrorists in Pakistan. How would you view that?
We have to take it the complete analysis, and we should analyze the situation not only independently but also rationally. Whenever just now Geeta was talking about terrorism, India fighting terrorism. It is the Pakistan that is facing terrorism, and it is fighting terrorism for many years now. Although there are many complaints against the establishment that they had their own voice in the Taliban or so on, but for last 4-5 years at least, I will go to the extent of the Zarb-e-Azb and then Rahe-Nijat before Zarb-e-Azb. That was launched by General Kiani, and then Zarb-e-Azb was launched by General Rahil Sharif. We saw the complete change in Pakistani policy, and we fighting strongly. We tried to deal them, all the terrorists. We launched a massive operation against them and killed so many of them. But it was Afghanistan that was provided safe haven to the Pakistani terrorists. All
no, but PTP guys, why you say that? And yes, Pakistan has faced terrorism. Ijaz, hear me out. Hear me out. Yes, after the attack on Army Public School Peshawar, we saw some changes. Yes, after the Lal Masjid incident, we saw some action being taken. And since you mentioned, there's also Operation Raddul Fasad that was carried out after Zarb-e-Azb, and there's some Ishtikam or Ishtifam operation that was undertaken, which Pakistan now seems to be denying. I don't understand that. Then why is no action taken against Hafiz Saeed for 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks when India gives a dossier? Why is action not taken against that Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar, who tried to assassinate your president, Pervez Musharraf, and India gave intelligence that saved Pervez Musharraf's life? Why is action not taken against them? Why this distinction between good terrorists and bad terrorists?
Gaurav, the things you are saying and the points you are raising, they are, propagating in India only. When and General Musharraf, you mentioned the attack on General Musharraf. He was not a common man. He was not a civilian president. He was an ex-army personnel, ex-army chief. So army conducted an independent inquiry, and whosoever was involved in that, they were taken to the courts. They were brought up to the justice, and justice is done with them.
Except that Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar, because the ISI, according to Pervez Musharraf, permit me, no, I want the Indian audiences to know facts, and the Pakistani audiences who watch us, they should also know facts. So Pervez Musharraf, in his book, very clearly writes that ISI told him, don't take action against that Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar. So that distinction between good terrorists and bad terrorists is made in Pakistan. Why should anybody sympathize with Pakistan?
Look, Gaurav, let me raise a point. Samjhauta Express burning is a very famous case.
No, forget Samjhauta Express. Samjhauta Express was done by Lashkar-e-Taiba. There was dirty politics in India that blamed it incorrectly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will not let you. No. We've had governments in our country which acted on things like Samjhauta and raised that bogey of Hindu terror. I'm sorry, Jaz. No, you may not speak. You will not speak lies on my show. We'll be very clear about that. Samjhauta is a bogey. The United Nations had a report that blamed Lashkar-e-Taiba for Samjhauta. And I'm surprised that in India action has not been taken against those who raised that bogey of Hindu terror in Samjhauta. I completely disagree with you on Samjhauta. So let's not raise that bogey.
Not tried in the court. And for Bombay attacks, yes, I condemn Bombay attacks.
We don't want condemnation. We want action against terrorists.
No.
We don't care about your condemnation.
We took action.
We want terrorists to be hanged.
No. Abdul Rahman Makki was tried in the court.
And he's producing children in jail.
No. It was India that had to give evidence to Pakistan. Nothing was provided against Hafiz Saeed. Hafiz Saeed might be a criminal for India. But
he's not a criminal, he's a terrorist. There's a distinction. Now you know why nobody sympathizes with you, Ijaz.
But he's not a criminal.
Now you know why nobody sympathizes.
My question would be, if 300, 400 Pakistanis have been burnt alive,
Ijaz,
why can't
he is a UN-designated global terrorist.
My countrymen, if my countrymen,
UN,
300,
Pakistan,
400...
Pakistan goes to UN, right? He's a UN-designated terrorist.
If would be burnt in India, why should I not talk about them? And let me talk rationally again.
But talk rationally. Don't do propaganda of ISI. I would love you to talk rationally. That's why I invited you on my show.
No. You are doing propaganda. I am not doing any propaganda.
No, I'm a journalist who has covered every terrorist incident in this country from 1999 till date, or virtually on ground, sir. I will not take Pakistani propaganda on my show, including on Samjhauta.
I am covering whatever India is.
Let's be very clear, Ijaz. Let us be very clear. India is a victim of Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. And your country takes no action against Hafiz Muhammad Saeed. Your country takes no action against Maulana Masood Azhar. Your country takes no action against Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar, who lives in Clifton, Karachi.
No. You had to provide. India had to provide some evidence. And when we talk about terrorism, we have to talk about whole spectrum. It was India that was blamed in Canada. An Indian officer and
that joker who blamed India in Canada is not even the Prime Minister of that country anymore. Please realize evidence. There has to be evidence-based action.
Evidence to Canada. 5 has given evidence to India against Indian terrorism.
No evidence given. No evidence. Till date, no evidence. देखिए, पाकिस्तान में उर्दू में कोई अखबार आपको क्या लिखकर परोसता है? We don't care. Show me one shred of evidence given. One shred. One shred of evidence.
Rationally.
One shred of evidence.
No. Yes, I'm against all terrorists. Be it is Narendra Modi, or be he's Hafiz Saeed. I'm against all terrorists.
Nonsense! Nonsense! Get off this show, for heaven's sake. Narendra Modi is a very well-respected Prime Minister of India who's won elections 3 times. He is one of the senior most elected leaders in the world today. Come on. No wonder you people are treated the way you are. भीख का कटोरा लेके दुनिया के सामने जाते हो यार, इजाज. Have some shame. Have some shame, Ijaz. Have some shame. Your Prime Ministers go begging. Our Prime Minister goes with respect. He's respected across the world. I will not have some Pakistani abuse my Prime Minister. Please get him off this channel. You want to listen to the fear in Pakistani voice? Listen to that Pakistani analyst Kamar Chima, who says there is fear in Pakistan right now with Namalum Afraad gunning down terrorists. And why not? When the Pakistani state supports terrorism, and when journalists support terrorism and apologize for terrorism, what a shame, what a shame. But listen in.
बलोच और पाकिस्तानी एक ही हैं. हम दहशतगर्दों की बात कर रहे हैं. दहशतगर्दों से ना हम बात करते हैं, ना हम इनके साथ किसी किस्म के डायलॉग पसंद करेंगे, ना इनकी कोई रिसोर्सेज की जंग है. ये दहशतगर्द हैं. इनको सिर्फ वही ट्रीट किया जाएगा जो बंदा बंदूक पकड़ के पाकिस्तान के फौजी पे तानेगा, पाकिस्तान की अवाम पे तानेगा, नहत्ते बच्चों पे, बेटियों पे, माओं पे जो बंदूक जो तानेगा. हम उस बीएलए को के साथ कोई डायलॉग नहीं करेंगे.
You know, the tragedy about Pakistan is, one, it is recognized globally as a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror. The world calls it an international migraine. And Ijaz, you should wonder why the world treats you the way the world treats you. When Pakistan goes with a begging bowl, now Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates also don't want to give zakat to you. Pakistani passports are being rejected. Pakistani visas are being rejected. Indians are welcomed. Indians are welcomed. You must think. I'm sorry, I will not permit you to do Pakistani propaganda on my channel. But you must understand the difference between a terror state Pakistan and a democracy India. If you can learn, it is good for you. If you can't learn, the world says to hell with Pakistan. That is exactly where you are today. दोज़ख की आग में जल रहा है पाकिस्तान. कभी आपके 90 सिपाही मार देते हैं बलोच लिबरेशन आर्मी, कभी आपके 250 सिपाही मार देते हैं जाफर एक्सप्रेस हाईजैक करके, और आप यहाँ पर आप आके हमको बता रहे
क्या करते हैं आप? देखिए
अल्लाह का खौफ करें आप लोग, अल्लाह का खौफ करें आप लोग. आप कहां किस दोज़ख की आग में जलेंगे?
किसको खौफ था इनसे? किसको खौफ था? अबू कतार और बाकी लोग.
हाँ, किसका खौफ था? किसका खौफ था?
एविडेंस दे दी थी मेजर गौरव के खिलाफ, मेजर आर्या के खिलाफ. मेजर गौरव के खिलाफ, मेजर आर्या के खिलाफ आपने कोई समझौता एक्सप्रेस
अच्छा, आप लोग पढ़े लिखे होते हैं क्या? आप लोग पढ़े लिखे होते हैं? मतलब दुनिया में कहीं तो पढ़ाई करते होंगे ना, या मदरसों में, पाकिस्तानी मदरसों में यही शिक्षा मिलती है आपको?
हम आपकी तरह देखिए ना,
which is such a shame. Anyways, Ijaz, seriously, there is absolutely no point talking to Pakistanis, and that is why India treats Pakistan with the contempt a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror deserves. That is exactly the same reason. And anyway, I want to take a quick break at this stage. We don't want to waste time with people who spend time with the Zakir Naiks and Hafiz Saids and the Maulana Masood Azhars of this world. Clearly, the world knows why Pakistan remains the global epicenter of radical Islamist terror. A quick break, we'll be back with lots more. And that mindset of Aurangzeb, where people in Pakistan consider Aurangzeb one of their idols. Well, there are protests across Maharashtra against Aurangzeb, and they want to remove even his tomb. Why? Details coming up. The Maha-Aurangzeb war has intensified in Maharashtra. The Vishwa Hindu Parishad and the Bajrang Dal, they've protested not just in Sambhajinagar but across Maharashtra, from Nagpur to Pune and even Amravati, demanding the removal of Aurangzeb's mazar or tomb from the Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, a claim that's been backed by the Shiv Sena and slammed by others in the opposition in Maharashtra. Backing the remove Aurangzeb's tomb demand, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has issued a stern warning, saying he will not spare those who glorify Aurangzeb. We get you more in this report.
The Aurangzeb face-off in Maharashtra is intensifying. From Nagpur to Amravati and Pune, protesters hit the streets on Monday. Effigies were burnt, the Mughal emperor's banners torn. Hindu groups VHP and Bajrang Dal are demanding the demolition of Aurangzeb's tomb in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar.
ऐसे किसी भी खलनायक की कब्र ये पूरे हिंदुस्तान में नहीं रहनी चाहिए, तो वर्तमान राज्य सरकार ये कब्र तुरंत हटा दे.
The ruling Mahayuti government leaders declared they will oppose any glorification of Aurangzeb.
आज यातनं एक संदेश निश्चितपणे जातो आहे की या देशामध्ये महिमा मंडन होईल तर ते छत्रपती शिवरायांच्या मंदिराचं होईल. महाराष्ट्रामध्ये औरंगजेबाच्या कबरीचं महिमा मंडन होऊ देणार नाही, त्याचं उदात्तीकरण होऊ देणार नाही. त्याचं उदात्तीकरण करण्याचा कोणी प्रयत्न केला तर तो प्रयत्न त्याच ठिकाणी चिरडून टाकण्याचं काम या आम्ही केल्याशिवाय राहणार नाही.
आज भी महाराष्ट्र में देश में ऐसे कुछ लोग हैं जो तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करना चाहते हैं, जिनको छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज का क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन था महाराष्ट्र और देश की संरक्षण करने में, देश को मजबूत करने में, उनको इसके बारे में कोई जानकारी नहीं.
The Maharashtra Vikas Agadi asked the state government and protesters to focus on issues like inflation and unemployment.
मैं मानता हूँ ये मराठों की एक शौर्य का स्मारक है. इतिहास को पता चलना चाहिए आने वाले पीढ़ियों को कि महाराष्ट्र किस तरह से छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज और मराठे आक्रामक जो थे उनसे लड़ते रहे, लेकिन वो जो आक्रामक थे वो महाराष्ट्र के ऊपर शिवाजी महाराज और मराठों के ऊपर विजय नहीं प्राप्त कर पाए, उनकी कब्र इस महाराष्ट्र में बनानी पड़ी।
उनके पास में दूसरा बचा है क्या है? काम धंधा तो कुछ है नहीं, केवल हिंदुत्व का नाम बिगुल बजाकर खुद की रोटी सेकना इतना ही काम है। अरे औरंगजेब की कब्र खोदने से पहले अपने किए हुए पाप की कब्र खोदो पहले।
Amid the mounting outrage, security has been tightened in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar.
लोगों की मांग है कि जो औरंगजेब की जो कब्र है वो हटाई जाए। उसको देखते हुए जो जिला प्रशासन और छत्रपति संभाजी नगर ग्रामीण पुलिस की ओर से खुलदाबाद में जहां पर औरंगजेब की कब्र है वहां पर तगड़ा बंदोबस्त लगाया गया है।
The fight over Aurangzeb has been raging for weeks now. Will it now end in the demolition of the Mughal ruler's tomb as demanded by Hindu outfits? Bureau Report, India Today.
So the Maqbara of Aurangzeb in Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar. There was earlier a controversy about Aurangabad or Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, and there are multiple controversies at various points of time. I want to quickly bring in Omkar Wable, who joins us from Aurangzeb's Maqbara at the Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar for more on this controversy. Omkar, I'm told there's massive security deployment. Is there a real threat that people could come and just remove Aurangzeb's tomb from there? Suddenly, what explains this rise of anger and this point of time? Was it all because of a movie, or are there other games at play here?
The movie just triggered this controversy, and I think just a week ago, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, he stated that the removal or the demolition of this tomb will be the legal. They'll go through the legal proceeding. But the issue is that's how the controversy took momentum. And now I'm standing exactly in the premises where the tomb is. So at my behind you can see security guards are already been deployed. Significantly, the security has increased by the local police, also SRPF. Some guards are also there. But just 10 feet from here. Inside where people are going, the tomb is located there, and now Aadhaar card is being checked, also identity is being verified, and security has already tightened up. So security guards, police, local police and SRPF Jawans, they all are cross-verifying 5 kilometers. Within a 5 kilometer radius, there are different barricades are there, and even the way people used to come on a regular basis, it is not possible nowadays just because government is taking precaution. On the other hand, same government, I mean Eknath Shinde and Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, they are taking side, rather they are backing Bajrang Dal and Vishwa Hindu Parishad. So both sides, government, opposition and on the administration level, there are different facets of the story.
But Omkar, I want to understand from you. So while Devendra Fadnavis says, Chief Minister says, I can't permit a tomb of a Hindu hater Aurangzeb in Maharashtra, both the Congress and the Uddhav Sena, they're saying that these are all diversionary tactics. They want to shift focus away from, as they put it, mismanagement in Maharashtra, lack of governance in Maharashtra. But does this have resonance with the masses? Or, is it all aimed at maybe future elections elsewhere, is to, create this Hindu-Muslim issue as the Congress puts it? How is the opposition reacting to this? How are the masses reacting to this?
Look, it's very interesting, and that's where I think contradiction lies. Because on the other hand, Devendra Fadnavis is taking side of Vishwa Hindu Parishad and right-wing organizations, claiming himself extreme Hindu and a pure Hindu. And on the other side, his own home ministry department and the police are deployed here to take precaution. And obviously, they are here to maintain law and order. So Fadnavis is continuously saying that he is a Hindu and he is a proud Hindu. That is why he is backing all right-wing organizations. But on the other hand, he is trying to take care of these premises by deploying the police. And also polarization in upcoming times, especially when the local body elections are in pipeline. So polarization could help political parties like BJP they already have a base of Hinduism, and that's how they are trying to build up the perception in Maharashtra politics.
Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more on this. The bigger issue remains whether the government will do something about the glorification of Aurangzeb in school textbooks. If that is, if that remains a major issue, and we'll be tracking that story. But now I want to take you to the national capital, where several Muslim organizations are staging a protest at Delhi's Jantar Mantar against the Waqf Bill. The Indian Union Muslim League and the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, they staged a protest. Of course, later the police asked them to move on. The protest was also joined by AIMIM Chief and Member of Parliament, Barrister Asaduddin Owaisi. The Muslim groups pledged to start a pan-India protest against the Waqf Bill. Police removed the protesters from Jantar Mantar. The opposition has slammed the Narendra Modi government, claiming it's snatching land from Muslims and creating a divide for political gain. The opposition claims the government's intentions are not honorable when it comes to the Waqf Bill. The BJP has hit right back. The BJP has not only questioned the timing of the protest, they've also said that the Joint Parliamentary Committee, it sat, it had a detailed discussion, it heard all the demands, all the letters that had come into them, it spoke to all stakeholders, and finally submitted their report. Now, these protests do not make sense. The BJP slammed Asaduddin Owaisi and said all of this is political drama and vote bank minority appeasement politics of the opposition.
तो वक्फ कानूनों में हो रहे बदलाव को लेकर के मुस्लिम संगठन और उनके प्रतिनिधियों में काफी नाराजगी है, और नाराजगी उन्हें जंतर मंतर तक ले आई है। ये तमाम नुमाइंदे बैठे हैं जो अलग अलग इलाकों से, अलग अलग राज्यों से आए हैं। दो चीजें बहुत स्पष्ट समझना चाहता हूं। कानून वक्फ का है पहले से ही, बदलाव से ऐतराज है या कुछ बदलाव से ऐतराज है?
ये हुकूमत जो है हर चीज के अंदर बदलाव कर रही है, और वक्फ जो जितनी भी जायदाद जो जमीन है वो हमारी है, वो अल्लाह के नाम पर वक्फ है, वो प्रॉपर्टी सरकार की नहीं है, न किसी ने हमें दान दे रखी है। तो हम उसके ऊपर क्यों हुकूमत का कब्जा होने देंगे? किसी भी सूरत में हम इस बिल को पास होने नहीं देंगे। हम जिस तरह हमें संविधान ने जो राइट दिया है उसके साथ हम लोग अपनी लड़ाई लड़ेंगे।
एक दूसरी चीज जो देखिए, हमने भी कई बार ये रिपोर्ट की है, वक्फ की जमीन को लेकर के घोटाले, गड़बड़ियां हुई हैं। आपके अपने नुमाइंदों ने कई बार कई जगहों पर इस तरह,
ये पूरा एक ऑर्गेनाइज्ड है। जिस तरह से पहले ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड ने कहा कि हम करेंगे, अब उसमें जमायत उलमा हिंद भी है, उसमें ओवैसी की AIMIM है, और तमाम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, और यहाँ तक कि मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्स के भी विपक्ष को बुलाया है, उन मेंबर्स को बुलाया है जो JPC के मेंबर रहे हैं। तो मैं सवाल करना चाहता हूँ, किस बात पे आज ये इकट्ठा हुए हैं, किस बात पे विरोध कर रहे हैं? जब वो एक प्रक्रिया चल रही है, हमने 428 पेज की रिपोर्ट सबमिट कर दी है, ऐसे तमाम चीजों पे अब कोई ऐसी गुंजाइश नहीं है। आखिर सवाल क्या है? वो अगर कहते हैं कि साहब कलेक्टर को अधिकार है, तो वो रिपोर्ट पढ़ लें। कलेक्टर को अधिकार नहीं, कलेक्टर से ऊपर कमिश्नर को है, उससे सेक्रेटरी को है। कोई अगर ट्रिब्यूनल से एग्रीव्ड है तो उसको हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाने का फैसला है। ये केवल एक सियासी तकरार है। मुझे
ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड ने आज प्रदर्शन का ऐलान किया था, और हम तमाम लोग आए, और हम इस बिल को अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मानते हैं। इससे वक्फ की कोई प्रॉपर्टी ना बचेगी, ना उसके इनकम में इजाफा होगा, ना एंक्रोचर्स को निकाल सकेंगे। ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ जो चीजें मुस्लिम धर्म की हैं उसको छीनना चाहते हैं। वक्फ बाय यूजर, हिंदू धर्म में बाय यूसेज एंड कस्टम अलाउड है। हिंदू धर्म, सिख धर्म के और ईसाई धर्म के बोर्ड्स में कोई उन्हीं के मजहब का आदमी समुदाय का मेंबर बन सकता है। यहाँ पर आप वो गैर मुस्लिम को बना रहे हैं। आप लिमिटेशन एक्ट वहां अप्लाई नहीं होता, यहाँ अप्लाई कर रहे हैं। ओरल गिफ्ट वहां हो सकता है, आप यहाँ वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी नहीं हो सकती। और 5 साल तक कोई मुसलमान अगर बनता है तो नहीं, कौन है आप बोले? प्रॉपर्टी मेरा राइट है। तो इससे कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, सिर्फ बर्बाद करना चाहते हैं वक्फ को, और इस देश में अमन और शांति समुदाय में जो है उसको और दूरी पैदा करने का इनका मकसद।
आर्टिकल 25, आर्टिकल 26 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के आर्टिकल्स हैं। तो आर्टिकल 25 के सामने ये जो संशोधन आ रहे हैं वो सही नहीं है, ये हमारा मानना है। अब वो सही कैसे हैं उनको बताना चाहिए, बताएंगे, और वो सही है कि नहीं है वो कोर्ट तय करेगा। इसका फैसला कौन करेगा? कौन फैसला करेगा? पार्लियामेंट करेगी ना, और पार्लियामेंट के बाद कोर्ट्स करेंगे। तो पहले पार्लियामेंट में जाएगा, देखते हैं वहां क्या होता है, उसके बाद कोर्ट्स में जाएगा, वहां देखेंगे क्या होता है।
And I quickly want to now take you to Karnataka, where the quota war is escalating after the Karnataka government's cabinet approved 4% reservation for Muslim contractors. The Congress government is about to table the bill in the Karnataka Assembly. The Congress has called the BJP anti-poor and defended the quota by saying that the reservation will be for all minorities and not restricted just to Muslim minorities. The BJP said it will protest in the Assembly and insist that the Congress government has brought out a 4% quota for Muslim appeasement. They've called the quota unconstitutional and claim it's a threat to the nation.
For SC/STs, there is a reservation. For minorities, we have given reservation. Minorities mean there are 5-6 communities. Muslims are there, Christ, Christians, Jains, Baudd and Parsi, all will come in this group, not only one community. BJP peoples, they are always against SC/STs, OBs, particularly poor people. They are all BJP peoples, they always support major communities and rich peoples.
Bharatiya Janata Party is not against Muslims. Bharatiya Janata Party or Narendra Modi, the Honorable Prime Minister, we are not against Muslims, but we are against Congress Party's Muslim appeasement politics. Bharatiya Janata Party to give plum post to Muslim community. D.K. Shivakumar has challenged BJP to give MLC and Rajya Sabha MPs for Muslim community.
And coming up next, astronaut Sunita Williams will soon be heading home. The NASA astronaut and her Crew 9 member, Butch Wilmore, will finally be returning to Earth. Details coming up. Stranded in space for over 9 months, astronaut Sunita Williams is a step closer to returning back to Earth. Her Ghar Wapsi from the International Space Station is now scheduled for Wednesday morning. We get you more in this report. Akshita Nandagopal comes up next with Super 6. Stay with us.
It was all claps and cheers as the hatch of the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft opened and the members of Crew 10 entered the International Space Station. There were hugs galore as Crew 10 astronauts met Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore. The NASA crew swap mission will allow Williams and Wilmore to return home after 9 unplanned months on the orbiting lab. The Crew 10 mission is a long-awaited first step to bring both back to Earth, part of a plan set by NASA last year that has been given greater urgency by US President Donald Trump since he took office in January.
We're coming back before long, so, don't make all those plans without me. We'll be back before too long.
I can tell you at the outset, all of us have the utmost respect for Mr. Musk and obviously respect and admiration for our President of the United States, Donald Trump. We appreciate them. We appreciate all that they do for us, for human spaceflight, for our nation. And we're thankful that they are in the positions they're in.
On June 5th, Boeing's Starliner carried its first 2 astronauts into space, a crucial test before the capsule could receive NASA approval for routine flights. But what was supposed to be an 8-day mission docked to the ISS has been drawn out by months after the capsule sprang leaks and some of its thrusters failed.
And Houston, thank you for tuning in this early morning. It was a wonderful day. Great to see our friends arrive. So thank you so much.
Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore are scheduled to depart the ISS on Wednesday morning. Here's wishing them a safe flight back. Bureau Report, India Today.